This is the Shotgun City Sheriff, the law himself, Clayton Clark.
This is the young Titan, Aaron Atlas.
Hey, this is Matt Brannigan.
This is the war-bound hellhound, Bo Sword.
This is your favorite drunken pro wrestler, a.k.a. the Bud Light Brawler, Dalton Davis.
This is Lizzie Six.
This is Jake Something.
And this is the jaw-jacking, back-cracking, God-created all men equal, and then he made me the sequel, Rohit Raju, and you are listening to the Spot Show Podcast.
Spot Show Podcast.
The Spot Show Podcast.
The Spot Show Podcast.
Spot Show Podcast, hell yeah.
The Spot Show Podcast.
The Spot Show Podcast? Yeah, that's right, I stuttered. Shut up.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to This is the Spot Show Podcast, an independent wrestling podcast with a few pit stops along the way. How's everyone doing on this fine Thursday? I, of course, am one of your hosts. You can call me the Dr. Seuss of the commentary booth, Dickie Wabash. That man right there, that's my lovely co-host. He is my everything. He is the one-legged wonder, Michael Madrox.
Dickie, how you doing this April Fool's Day?
We're recording this on April Fool's Day, man, and I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. I'm waiting for something to happen. Speaking of it being April Fool's Day, before we get too far into this, I want to kind of talk about some of the April Fool's jokes that I've seen today. I mean, obviously, this is after April Fool's, but I'm all for an April Fool's joke. We can do April Fool's jokes. I'm good with it. However, hey, wrestling news sites, you're not the only ones that made the posts about MJF signing with WWE, and everybody probably thought that they were the only ones making that joke, and who boy, were they absolutely not, because I have seen it no less than 5 times today.
With 16 different photos of MJF.
5 different sources with 16 different photos of MJF. My favorite one is the photoshopped one of him with the undisputed title, but it's Burberry.
Yes.
My God.
I think wrestling news sites have ruined April Fool's Day.
I'm not even just going to say, I just think that like the internet has ruined April Fool's Day because
all the same gag all the time, and it's not even funny.
No, I mean, there's, so back in the day, Electronic Gaming Monthly, EGM, I bet no one's thought about that magazine in a long ass time. They used to always do April Fool's jokes, and they got people really good.
I remember the one where they said Mario was bought out from Sony, or by Sony.
Yeah, there was another one they did with Mario where they said that they were going to do a Kingdom Hearts crossover and make it Mushroom Kingdom Hearts, and they actually had like a render of Sora, Mickey, and Mario together.
Yes.
Then the other one was that there was going to be a realistic HD remake of Wind Waker because people didn't like the cartoony style of Wind Waker. So, but man, see, it's just shit like that now that it's like,
it's a lost art form.
it is.
Now everyone's like, oh, April 1st, let's make up a fake news story and present it as real, and everyone's going to get a laugh out of it.
Oh my God, this person's pregnant. Oh my God, this person is getting married to this person. Or, oh my God, like, it's just, come on.
The pregnancy ones, I think, cross the line, though. Because you got people out there that actually can't have children, and everyone's making a joke about it.
Yeah, I definitely
personally
see
do
that.
not mess with any of those ones. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just like, that's bad taste to me.
What's one of the best April Fool's jokes that you've ever seen, heard, read, whatever? Done even.
Okay. You know Bull Bronson.
Yep.
We're hanging out with Bull Bronson in his neck of the woods, and we figured out that he's very afraid of blood at the time from women. So Miranda grabs a tampon out of her pocketbook and puts fake blood on it because, you know, Juggalo wrestlers got to have fake blood.
Oh, absolutely.
And tied it to his key ring, and he got back in the car and went to start the car and just felt something wet and cold and looked at his hand.
And it was just ketchup?
No, it was fake blood.
Or fake blood, sorry.
And the next
you
thing,
literally just said fake blood. Guys, it's a day today.
It's okay, Dickie. I got you. But I've never seen a man cry and throw up so much in my life as I did that day.
Oh, that's actually really good. So I think one of the most notorious April Fool's jokes is the old Opie and Anthony joke where they said the mayor of Boston was dead.
I don't recall this.
Oh, it was a big to-do. Like, it got them fired, and like they were off the air for a while because of it. But of course, I'm a big Opie and Anthony fan. Like, I was literally listening to like old O&A before you got over here to record ski. And then now it's turned into I'm a big Jim Norton, Sam Roberts fan. But
What's
anyway,
the best prank you've ever done?
I'm not a prank guy. I'm really not.
I'm a prankster and a ribber, but never on April Fools. I feel like it's expected something to go haywire on April Fools.
So if you want to get kind of serious about it a little bit, my mom's stepdad years ago actually passed away on April Fools, and people
this just went dark.
Well, I mean, but it's just people were just like, "Oh, come on!" It's like, no, like we're serious about that. But that's why it's like that's the problem with April Fools, man, is that a lot of this stuff is to be expected. There was going to be an April Fool's joke. There's been 2 April Fool's jokes that we were going to do that we never got around to doing. And the one was going to be us going to WrestleMania. And then there was one that we were going to do this year, but I think we just kind of forgot about it, where I was going to get, to make it look like
You got the MadBash tattoo.
the MadBash tattoo on my neck like Cody Rhodes. But we just never got around to it. Man, you got me really thinking right now. If there's have I ever been a prankster?
I guarantee it around the jackass time frame of your life.
Which is so funny because I was reminiscing with a friend this weekend. We were talking about that time period. I was never the prankster, man.
You never put scotch tape on the sink faucet, little sprayer thing for your mom to go in there and do dishes.
I mean, do you count antiquing someone as a prank?
Yes, that's a prank.
I've antiqued people. For those of you that don't know, it's where you get a big mound of flour or just in any white powder and just throw it on someone.
We were
going
to antique Clayton Clark.
Oh, we were. We almost antiqued Clayton Clark, but I was like,
you were like, I don't want to clean it.
yeah, I don't want to clean it up, man. Oh my God. So I do remember something that I did one time, and I don't know if this makes me a bad person. It all got worked out in the long run, and everything got returned.
Oh boy, Dickie's losing his mind here, guys.
I went to a friend's house. This is a true story. Went to a friend's house and took one of his family photos and brought it back to my house and put it amongst my family photos to see how long it would take people to notice. It took him about a month, and my mom was like, what? And then I was like, and then I talked to my buddy about it. Like his family had no idea the photo was even gone, but it's just really funny.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No, but it's like that old John Mulaney joke where he's talking about his psychotic friend that would steal family photos from parties. I didn't steal. I gave it back. Like I ended up giving it back, but it was really funny. I hate that like I'm on the spot right now, man, because I guarantee you there had to have been more pranks that I've pulled. Yeah, I'm really thinking, like, even ribs. Like, I don't... Okay,
You never pissed in someone's bag.
No, I never did. But I will not say this on Spot Show, but I will tell it on Paid Show. I will not mention... It's the funniest rib that I have ever seen, like, someone do. Like, and it was a consistent rib that he would always do to people. Again, I won't name names, but I will tell this story on Paid Ski because it's a really funny one. It involves a photo of Greg the Hammer Valentine. I'm just going to say that. I think you know it. And right now, Jason V is popping because he knows it as well. Hey, before we get too far into this, though, just want to let everybody know that this episode of the Spot Show podcast is brought to you by Yoo-Hoo and Elite Pro Wrestling. We're going to hear a little bit more about them later. Of course, you go on over to patreon.com/MadBash Studios. You back us at that $5 tier. You are going to get this show completely ad-free. You're not going to hear from you're not going to get the ad read. You're just going to cut right into the meat and potatoes of this podcast. But that is not all that we offer over on the Patreon. There is so much bonus content. We are nearing hundreds of hours of content over on the Patreon. You can get MadBash fan cam footage. You can get exclusive phone wallpapers over on the Patreon, and so much more. We make announcements over on the Patreon at least 48 hours or so before we make them to the public on Facebook or even here on the podcast. But guys, I understand it. Sometimes you don't have the extra money to toss our way. You can still support this show completely free if you go to madbashstudios.com. There you're going to find links to all of the podcasting platforms. Go to those podcasting platforms, leave us a 5-star written review, and that is just as good as backing us on Patreon. We appreciate all of the support that we can get from wherever we can get it. We love it. We said this from the very beginning. We're building MadBash Studios with you guys, and that remains true even over a year in. Oh my God, we are over a year in, and it just really dawned on me with that one. A couple more plug skis for you guys. If you are listening to this on the day that this podcast drops, at 8 o'clock Eastern tonight, you go over to our YouTube channel. You are going to be able to see Ascend the Throne Round 1. We got Devontae Knox versus LDLC. We've got Chris Cutler versus Colby Jack. We've got Clayton Clark versus Jared Savage over there on the YouTube channel. Again, if you're listening to this on the day that this podcast drops, 8 o'clock Eastern tonight, you can check that out. And some MadBash Wrestling plug skis. We have announced 2 matches coming to EPW on April 27th. We're going to dive a little bit more into them here in a few, but we have Chris Cutler defending the MadBash Championship against No Joke Johnny Poke, and we have the next chapter in the storied rivalry between the young Titan Aaron Atlas and the Clydesdale himself, the Sheriff Clayton Clark. These are going to be 2 matches that you guys are not going to want to miss. Go to eliteprofessionalwrestling.com for more information on that event. We're cooking with gas right now, Madrox.
Always cooking with gas.
We really
brother.
are. I feel like that, you know what, though? No, I'm not going to say that we're cooking with gas because Hank Hill doesn't like propane. So I'm just going to say that we're cooking with charcoal right now, brother.
Hank Hill loves propane.
I said that backwards.
You did.
How dare I? I got everything so mixed up. It's a day, gang. It is a day. I should know
I was
this.
like, wait a minute, is this an April Fool's joke? No. He is all about propane and propane accessories.
He is. I was literally just watching King of the Hill the other day, and I have already messed it up. But...
You know what? If Dalton Davis was here right now, 50 Hindus.
Oh, I already owe him 50 Hindus because...
what did you do?
So we have started referring to each other. He's the tribal chief and I'm the wise man. And when he called me today, I said, yes, my wise man. I mean, my tribal chief. As you can, again, it's been a day. And he was just like, whoa, 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 whoa. And I was like, yes, sir. Sorry, sir. I will pull over on the side of the road right now and do 50 Hindus. He's like, dude, I just picture you at a red light just out there, just hitting Hindus. And
calf swelling with every Hindu.
Oh, absolutely. But yeah, man, MadBash Wrestling. We are cooking on all cylinders. We've got a lot of MadBash Wrestling topics to cover here today, but we've also got a topic of the show that we're going to probably get into in the back half of this. But I just want to talk a little bit about these 2 matches that are coming up, man. We got Cutler and Poke.
For the championship. And then we've got Clayton and Aaron Atlas. And this is going to be Aaron Atlas's first time wrestling under the MadBash banner. So that's pretty exciting. He's already bad-mouthing MadBash on social media.
He already is. He said that he was going to, and I quote, shove a yoo-hoo up Clayton Clark's poop chute.
And destroy this little company.
And I don't necessarily condone that behavior, Aaron.
No, you can't waste a yoo-hoo like that.
No, you can't. You can't.
I mean, maybe a Nesquik.
But see, now you're comparing apples to oranges because we're talking chocolate water and then we're talking chocolate milk. 2 completely different substances.
Nesquik, I consider more chocolate water as well. You can buy that stuff unrefrigerated.
Brother, it's literally chocolate milk.
Yeah.
Don't do this.
Nah.
You make a point, you get proven wrong, then you don't even try to
Then
stand
why
your
the hell
ground.
do they sell it non-cold?
Where are you seeing warm Nesquik?
In the little boxes by the Yoo-Hoo and shit, bro.
Am I just stupid and not seen this?
I'm pretty sure that you are just stupid and not seeing this.
Oh wow. Well, okay, fuck me then, I guess. But no, man. Yeah, Clayton, the gatekeeper of MadBash, he's gonna be stepping up to defend the honor of MadBash like he always does. We'll get into it a little bit on Paid Ski, but we had other plans for this match that fell through. Here exclusively on Paid Show what those were going to be. But man, I'm excited for that match. Don't get me wrong. Those two have created magic in the ring before, whether it be singles action or, Mount Olympus
Definitely
versus
history with
Whiskey
those
and
boys.
Warrants. Exactly. They were the finals of the breakout tournament for Hybrid Championship Wrestling, and we know where that went. Clayton Clark won, but I'll tell you the one I'm excited for. Again, not to take away from either one match, but man, the first time ever, Johnny Poke versus Chris Cutler, and it's for the MadBash Wrestling Championship.
And it's also going to be the EPW debut of Chris Cutler.
And it's going to be the EPW debut of the MadBash Wrestling Championship being defended.
Historical night, brother.
It's going to be very historic.
Who's your money on?
Oh,
I gotta put you on the spot like
put that spot on me, man. This one might get me a little bit of flack, but I got a feeling that there's a lot of momentum behind him right now. I think Johnny Poke might pull it off.
You think so?
I'm not gonna call Johnny Poke winning an upset, but you got to look at it like how he's probably looking at it. His tag team partner just lost not one, but 2 championships to Chris Cutler. And I mean, we're getting rare solo action from Whiskey and Warrants at EPW. So I think there's going to be kind of a friendly competition thing going on with them. Those two are like brothers. So there's no bad blood between them at all. I mean, it's always like a friendly rivalry thing with them. So I think that it's going to be like anything you can do, I can do better. And something that you can't do, I'm going to do it, man.
See, I could see that, but I have to agree to disagree. I think Cutler's going to take this one, man.
Really?
He's coming off his own wave of momentum, popping up all throughout the Midwest. He's our reigning and defending champion, and he beat Clayton Clark for it. So, I mean, stepping in that ring so many times with Clayton Clark, you kind of got to understand the strategic strategies of Johnny Poke as well, because like you say, that's Whiskey and Warrant. So I think Cutler's got a little bit of an edge on him.
Here's something pivotal, though, that I think that a lot of people have really not thought about. Chris Cutler beat Dalton Davis and Clayton Clark in the same night. 2 cornerstones, 2 of the original 5. He has beaten them in the same night. That's a feat.
That is amazing when you look at it.
But you also, I mean, and I'm not trying to, I'm not changing my pick. I still do think, I'm just throwing that out there that like, man, you really got to think about that. Like,
that's why I'm going with Cutler, man.
I'm not changing my mind though, man. I think Poke knows that. Poke knows that this is going to be a big opportunity, but it's one of those things of like, sure, it's important and it's really cool to be the first, but being the second can sometimes be pretty cool as well because you beat the first.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is going to be Johnny Poke's also night of first. This is his first official MadBash Wrestling match. I mean, even though he is a MadBash boy, he's someone that has that seal of approval on him, but we've never done a MadBash Wrestling match with Johnny Poke. So, it's going to be interesting. I think both guys are really coming into this match with a, everything to gain and everything to lose mentality, really.
I mean, Johnny's what? Johnny 4 belts still.
Yeah.
Could be Johnny 5 belts by the end of the night, but I think Chris Cutler's just got that little bit of edge.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I just think that the Poke Man, I think that he's going to...
It'll be interesting to see.
It's crazy, though, that I'm sitting back here saying that Johnny Poke could be the upset because Johnny Poke is a incredible wrestler in his own right. So it's just, I don't know, man. Hey, speaking of that match, I want to give a shout out to Kenny from Dex Block Studios putting together an incredible hype video for that match. He did an amazing job. We've shared it on our Facebook. I believe it's on the EPW Facebook as well. It's all over the place.
It's all over social media right now.
Yeah, it's a really good little video that he made there to build the importance of this match. So shout out to him, man. He did a really good job on that one. But, I also don't want to take away from Clayton and Aaron because, we talk about not only have they faced each other in like singles and tag team, but man, I think Clayton has got, I don't know if Aaron has ever beaten Clayton. So this is going to be a little nifty one to see here if Aaron can step up and beat
Right the
Clayton.
wrongs in his own mind.
Yeah. Because Aaron Atlas enough. That's got to eat at him.
I think everything's eating at Aaron Atlas right now, especially the fact that his brother is the Odyssey champion.
Yeah. There's a lot of interesting stuff going on in the Midwest right now. And, I think we're just kind of throwing fuel on the fire a little bit. You know what I mean?
You got to, man.
Yeah. No, Aaron, he can talk all the trash that he wants about MadBash. I mean, I don't like it. I don't approve of it. But Aaron is someone that we've wanted to work with a lot in the past. And I'm not going to let personal feelings get in the way here. Sure, he's been talking garbage about our company and our guys, but he's still hell of a talent, incredible talent. And, when I talked to Clayton about it, he said, I got a feeling this is going to be one of the best MadBash Wrestling matches ever. And I'm like, man, that's a pretty tall order because Clayton, that's just Clayton for you. Clayton
wants to go out there and give it his all.
He's out there every time, not to just give his all, but to also just go out there and again, be that gatekeeper. And Aaron, I think is not that he needs it, but when Clayton rather is out there with someone, he always brings out the best in them. And Aaron is always at his best, I think. So to see what Clayton can bring out of him in that environment, because again, they've faced before, but never in this environment. So it's just going to be something different,
I mean, we all seen Ascend to the Throne, the uncut match, Clayton Clark,
Yep.
Jared Savage. I mean, Clayton brought something out of Jared Savage that we never expected. And now he's going in there with Aaron Atlas. It's going to be interesting.
I think it's something of where these guys get in the ring with Clayton under the MadBash banner, and they just know that, hey, he's the gatekeeper. He's the one that, if I want to prove myself with MadBash.
If I want to earn that yoo-hoo.
Exactly. And, Jared's no slouch in his own right. He's one of the original 5. But I also don't know if we've talked about it, but Dalton Davis is the first member of the original 5 to beat the other 4.
I don't think we talked about that on air.
Yeah. The only caveat with that one is that when he wrestled Clayton at Signal 10, it wasn't under the MadBash banner, but still yet it was Clayton versus
Heavily represented by the MadBash banner.
Yeah. So I think that that's something pretty special for Dalton to hang his hat on that.
I think there's only one way to top that feat, and that's going to be when somebody actually goes through and beats the original complete 5.
All of the original 5?
Yes.
Ooh. Hey, man.
That'll be interesting to see.
Cutler beat 2 of them in one night.
He's got 3 left.
Yeah.
I've already told you on the last podcast, I want Chris Cutler versus Shank Barzini.
I want Shank Barzini versus anyone, if you want me to be honest with you. Shank gets in there and does some magic. Speaking of wrestling that's been going on, EPW Level 7-1 is now on YouTube, and hoo boy, that ladder match is just, it's not your traditional ladder match.
That is not a ladder match. That is a car crash.
Yeah. You get out there with these ladder matches now, and I feel like a bar has been set where it's who can do the craziest thing off the ladder? Who can do the craziest thing on the ladder? Not really what these guys did out there. They just went out and had a.
I saw Shank Barzini break a wooden ball bat.
Yeah, so that should
in
tell
a ladder
you.
Match.
Yeah, that should tell you right there what type of match this was. It was a fight. It really wasn't even a ladder match. It was more of a ladder fight. So yeah, again, kudos to those guys. Man, it feels really good to just look around and just see everyone doing well.
It does.
And I think that that's kind of going on right now. We're getting that winter melancholy off of us, and we're getting into the spring. And it's I feel like when it's WrestleMania season, I feel like that it just kind of brings something out in everyone, because like this is the most important time of the year for wrestling as a whole.
Not just in Philadelphia though, bro. Like wrestling fans are all out there. They're coming to these indie shows this month.
Yeah.
Like all eyes are on everyone to succeed and prove their point.
And that's what I'm saying, is that I think that it's just, there's something in the air this time of year, and it all comes from the granddaddy of them all, WrestleMania. And it's something special, really something special. So hey, we're gonna do something a little bit weird right now. I know it's a little bit early to do this, but I'm ready to get into the topic of this show that Michael Madrox has prepared for us. So we are going to go ahead and we are going to hear a word from our sponsors. This episode of the Spot Show podcast is also brought to you by Elite Pro Wrestling. Here's the thing about Elite Pro Wrestling, right? You have them to thank for the Spot Show podcast in many different ways. Elite Pro Wrestling gave MadBash Studios our first opportunity when we decided to come back into the wrestling business. So Elite Pro Wrestling is one of the OG backers. We love Elite Pro Wrestling so much. They are putting on incredible shows every single month. You should absolutely be there, whether it be in Odin, Indiana, Washington, Indiana. We would love to see you in the crowd there at Elite Pro Wrestling for every single thing that you need to know about EPW. Head on over to EliteProfessionalWrestling.com. There you are going to find dates, events, links, everything that you need to know about EPW. Thank you so much for being a day one sponsor, EPW. We very much appreciate it. This episode is brought to you by Yoo-Hoo, a product of Keurig Dr. Pepper. So here's what I want you to picture right now, right? You're on a long road trip, you're driving along, and you're thinking, man, I could really go for a nice, sweet, refreshing drink. You pull into a gas station, and the first thing you see is Yoo-Hoo. And I gotta tell you, grabbing that Yoo-Hoo, that's going to be the right decision every single time. Yoo-Hoo is available in a variety of flavors: vanilla, strawberry, but here at MadBash, our personal favorite is chocolate. I'm going to tell you about Yoo-Hoo a little bit more, right? We absolutely love this stuff here at MadBash. We cannot get enough of it. And you know what? We're going to sweeten the pot a little bit here thanks to Yoo-Hoo. If you see us at a wrestling show and you buy a MadBash Wrestling sticker, you are entitled to one free bottle of Yoo-Hoo on MadBash Studios. Limit one per customer while supplies last. Now, come on, guys. You can't beat that deal with a stick. Again, MadBash would like to thank Yoo-Hoo so much for sponsoring this episode. Michael Madrox.
Why you put me on the spot like this, Dickie? You make it seem like only one of us did homework this week.
No, I did homework.
Oh, did you?
So, I just didn't take notes. So, we're recording this on April Fool's. As you know, we spent the beginning of this podski talking about pranks and, ribs and stuff like that. So, when trying to figure out what would be a good topic to talk about on this podcast, we obviously knew we want to talk about Ascend the Throne, which is what we did. We obviously want to talk about the big night for MadBash Wrestling coming up here, where we've got 2 matches on EPW's card. But with it being April Fool's Day, the day that we're recording, there's just a little bit of joke in the air. You know what I mean? And there's just that
comical aspect of the sport of professional wrestling, if you will.
And that's what I'm getting at here, man. Because wrestling is everything but wrestling, to be honest with you.
Wrestling is the Undertaker standing in front of a 8-foot wooden box to have Chris Kanyon come out dressed like Boy George singing, "Do You Really Want to Hurt Me?"
We are going to talk about some of the funniest moments in wrestling history, whether that be the WWE, TNA, WCW, ECW,
independent wrestling,
even on our level, stuff that we have witnessed in person with our own two eyes.
That's just like iconic and makes you giggle no matter how many times you watch it back.
Exactly.
Like Boy George Canyon. Like, no one expected that.
No,
you
not
know
at all.
what I'm talking about, right?
Oh, I absolutely
Where
know the bit
Undertaker
that you're talking
just
about.
killed him.
Yeah.
Ruined every push and career Canyon had in the WWE at the time.
Yeah.
But like, dude, you think about like iconic moments that are full of a giggle, right? Let's go back to like 96, 97 here. Stone Cold Steve Austin stuns Vince McMahon for the first time.
And that's what's crazy about that is that that's really not even that funny. But I think what's funny about the way Vince sold the stunner.
The floppy fish cell, brother. It's going to live in infamy.
I feel like we could spend the entire next bit of this podcast just talking about the shit that Stone Cold did to Vince McMahon.
I mean,
Which, by the way, Benoit addendum, as always. Vince McMahon's a piece of shit. He did some really piece of shit things. We're talking about the character, not the man.
yes. But like, dude, like thinking back, like what's one memory you have where you're like just flipping through the channels? You could be on any fucking thing and you're just like, oh my God, I can't believe they're doing this.
In wrestling?
Yes.
Man. I don't know. That's a tough one because there's so many. Like, I think, and this isn't even necessarily a flipping through the channels, but Vince and Shane versus Shawn Michaels and God.
Oh man. What pay-per-view was that at?
Backlash.
Was it Backlash?
I
Or Unforgiven?
Might have been Unforgiven because Vince McMahon will never be forgiven for doing that.
God had his own entrance at everything.
Oh my God. Yeah, I just think that whole hallelujah, and amen.
Amen.
That was how I knew that Clayton Clark and I were going to be friends, is that we're just sitting in the locker room and he just randomly goes, here's my favorite Vince video. And it's him going, hallelujah, and amen. I don't know, that entire era of Vince was just unfucking hinged. Like Do-Rag Vince was great. Get. I think we've talked about that on here before, how that's one of my favorite Do-Rag
we just
Vince
reviewed
moments.
a moment with Vince McMahon and the Sandman of all things on a fucking Raw after a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Like, why does that need to be there? But thank you for having that there. Like the Sandman just bashing a beer in his head and just looking at Vince and snot rocketing him. Like, come on now, guys.
Yeah, man. I think that, again, Benoit addendum, don't have to keep saying it. That's one thing that you can say about Vince, is that he had no problem in putting himself in situations that would make him look foolish on TV.
You have to be a professional wrestler, man. You got to take the humility with it.
Yeah.
You're not going to come out there and being like Goldberg, oh, I can't make jokes about myself. I'm going to beat up Chris Jericho.
Yeah, no shit. Man, you can even talk about Jericho, like some of the stuff that he did. The list. Are we talking about
the original list? Armbar.
Hold 784.
Yes.
Armbar. Or when he was the conspiracy victim.
Yes.
Like that whole era of Jericho was just really good too. And my favorite one, it's one of the loudest pops in the history of professional wrestling. Whenever Cyclope won the Cruiserweight Battle Royal to face Jericho for the Cruiserweight title.
Oh, and it was Malenko?
It was Malenko. But Jericho announcing the Cruiserweight competitors to the ring. He's like, this man pulled up to the building in a rusted out El Camino. Like, just shit like that.
Jose Cuervo.
Yeah, he was just saying the most fucking off the wall shit. And I think that is probably, I'm not going to say the funniest that Chris Jericho has been, because I think the list was a lot more funny.
It was more off the wall, unhinged, because you never knew what was going to happen to get put on the list.
Remember, he put Brock Lesnar on the list and then erased him off the list?
Yes.
Yeah, that was really
because the
funny.
look Brock gave him. I mean, you can't talk about comedy and Brock Lesnar without mentioning R-Truth.
When R-Truth broke
him on national TV.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a good one.
Setting up for the Royal Rumble. I don't care how big and bad you are. I'm throwing you over the top rope, Paul Heyman.
Again, we could, like, this whole podcast could just be a tribute to fucking R-Truth.
I was, like, making notes of, like, moments that I, like, instantly remembered, like, made me chuckle.
Yeah.
And then I'm just, like, going off the walls. I'm like, well, that led to this moment. That led to this moment. And you got to, like, realize that, like, I would say 80% of wrestling on television is comedy.
Yeah. And I want to apologize to everyone here, because it may seem like that we're just kind of quickly jumping from fucking subject to subject. But
you can't just stay on a subject, because we'll use the whole time of this podcast for that one subject.
Yeah, like Madrox just said, is that you start thinking about one subject, and then it leads to, oh my God, do you remember this? And then you're talking, oh my God, do you remember this? Like, oh my God, do you remember when this happened?
Like, Vince flopping like a fish could easily lead to, you remember that time Vince learned how to swim in the beer bath? Like, it all ties in together. It's like a mystical spiderweb of comedy throughout the history of professional wrestling, man.
And that's where the entertainment part comes from. Like, I was just talking to someone this weekend. I was telling them, like, I think that the last pure art form in our society is stand-up comedy. I just think it is. And comedy, like, everything comes back to comedy. Like, if you're not laughing, you're not living, in my opinion. Like, I'm like, there's certain subjects that, like, maybe you shouldn't joke about, you know, like, and there's a laundry list of things, but for the most part, like,
I got my paraplegic pass, brother. I can joke about it all.
Yeah, but not at all. There's a few things that I think that are kind of off limits, but for the most part, like, I'm pretty much an open book with, like, wanting to talk about, and, like, I think that, man, you look back at some of it, and with some of it being comedy and wrestling, and, like, some of it, I'm not going to write it off as it was just of the time, but you kind of look at it and you're like, maybe they shouldn't have done that for the sake of a joke.
You mean DX coming out dressed like Nation of Domination?
Yeah. And I don't think
that wouldn't fly in today's day and age.
No. Well, because they were literally coming out in blackface.
Yes.
And I think that blackface is one of those taboo topics that you kind of want to avoid, you know? And then, like, there's a few things, like, involving the, at the time, divas or whatever, where it's like, you know, maybe we didn't need to go, like, with the, Molly Holly is a virgin. Ha, 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 ha. Let's laugh at that.
Because she's got a big butt.
Ha, 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 ha. Like, yeah, come on, man. You're kind of borderline body shaming there. So let's go with that.
They try to take, like, what was funny on South Park and bring it to real life, and some of it crossed over, and other parts should have been left in animation form.
Yeah. So I'm gonna hop firmly off of my soapbox now, but I just think there's, like, and I'm a student of comedy, but I think there's some things that we kind of.
I got a question for you, though.
Yes.
Because I just listened to an interview with Violent J, you know, our Lord and Savior of shitty wrestling. And he's talking about how there's two things in life he can never do because he doesn't have the confidence for, and that's being a stripper and being a stand-up comedic. Do you think you could go up there and do a comedy show?
No.
You don't think so?
No. Because I have thought about it. I have written stand-up comedy. I told the story of where I tried my stand-up comedy in front of a wrestling group because Harker Dirge talked me into doing it. I do agree, though, stand-up comedy, like I've said, is one of the last true art forms, if not the last true art form, and I respect the hell out of it. And I think I respect it so much to a point of where I don't want to go up there and bomb my dick off and make it like a mockery, for
Make
lack
it a
of a better
horrible
term.
experience,
Yeah.
not only for you but everyone in the room.
Yeah, like I'm a funny guy. Like I like to think that I'm pretty funny. I've made people laugh, but I don't think I'm funny in the context of being a stand-up comedian.
I think you're funny on a personal level.
Yeah, because
Like-
it's a different skill set.
It absolutely is. I mean, like, we're all funny on our own personal levels. Like, especially like everyone in our little group. But I think if you put any one of us on a stage and told us to go make the whole room laugh, we would all fail miserably.
Well, it's a matter of like knowing your audience as well, and I think that that's the problem with stand-up comedy. Where it would be the problem for me is that I feel like I can be funny for a specific audience, and you're not always in front of a specific audience when you're doing stand-up comedy. You're in front of different people
From different walks of life.
So,
they're
yeah.
not all relatable. Like, when you go out there and do a wrestling show, you can pick something and
Yeah.
find it relatable for the whole room. Stand-up comedy's not the same.
not at all.
the same.
Do you remember? It was one of the WWF home videotapes. WWF's funniest moments,
Oh, from like the early 90s?
late 90s.
Was it late 90s?
Yeah, might have been going into the 2000s because it definitely had to come out at least in 2001 because
I know they got one back from the early 90s as well because it's
Oh,
still
yeah.
on the network.
yeah. But there was this one had to be like 2001 at least. Because it definitely had Vince McMahon and Stone Cold and Kurt Angle's shenanigans from that time period with the Kurt Angle giddy up or whatever he said with the doofy cowboy hat on.
Are you thinking about Oh My God?
No, it's not. Oh my
Okay.
God, it's not. Oh my God. No, it was. I remember having it. It was a VHS tape, and I still have the tape. I don't have the sleeve for it anymore. But it like talked about like different funny moments, like talked about naked Midian when he fucked the turkey. You forgot about that, didn't
I did
you?
not because that's on my list actually.
Ah, fuck yeah.
I haven't put stuff on here that's not supposed to be funny, but it was hilariously and made you cringe.
But yeah, that was one of the things. But, and you know, we still got a little bit of time on this podcast, but I just want to say right now, we would be remiss if we did not talk about what I consider to be the absolute funniest moment in the history of professional wrestling.
What's this going to be?
Titus World Slide.
Yes. Have you seen the new videos going around where people are like smacking their TVs to make him fall and shit? It's like a new TikTok trend. Like people will like take their broom handles and like smack the TV like at the exact moment he's falling, so it looks like it's all like done on fucking purpose and they're racing through the TV.
I really like shit like that. Like there's that trend where Loki from the Avengers, like he'll be walking and he'll turn and then he'll smile and they're like holding their phone to make it look like they're showing Loki something.
Yeah, that's how this is set up, but it's
Yeah,
all like
yeah,
just
yeah.
fucking knocking over Titus.
I watched that happen live.
I did too.
And it like Corey Graves just giving up and just laughing his ass off. Like that's what made it like so fucking great and so fucking real.
I am honestly surprised they went back to a replay over it.
Yeah.
Because you know who was in charge at that time. and
Goddamn, pal.
That was never anything they would, we can't show that botch. It makes us look bad, kid.
Well, I don't know. They did keep showing Kai and Ty fucking dying whenever Taka's head bounced off the fucking mat.
That is a highlight from the Royal Rumble, though.
Yeah.
The Billy Kidman does it at WrestleMania.
Yeah. King just going, can we just see Taka getting eliminated again? Like he just kept asking for it and asking for
Shout
it.
out to Alan Graham for throwing the replay in the EPW show.
Oh, hell yeah.
So now I'm going to use it every show multiple times.
Yep. Keep you on your toes, son.
Get my Don West on, boy.
That was freaking insane. Like back to R-Truth here for a minute. Like I can't think of one moment that he has not been involved with that has not been comedic gold. And it all started with Lil Jimmy.
It did.
Because up until then he was just like kind of normal, but like him doing then when he's like, when Lil Jimmy comes marching in, and he's like dressed like a soldier. His recent stuff with the Judgment Day has been incredible because there's that photo of Rhea, Dom, and Damian Priest all sitting like eating at an airport, and you just see R-Truth just smiling in the background.
Have you seen the WWE social networks have been like releasing like commentary cam footage?
Yeah.
And they got the new one from R-Truth from this past Monday where fucking Pat McAfee just loses his shit and Michael Cole's just sitting there embarrassed as all hell.
What was the one that I just saw recently where it was... Michael Cole says Ricochet is quick like a puma, which is a reference to, and Pat McAfee goes, I don't think people really talk enough about how quick pumas are. And then they start, and that's another one, like Pat McAfee is just so fucking funny on commentary, but I don't think that he really takes away from it. I think he adds to it.
Absolutely, man.
Like him like getting up and doing that's just me, oos, and like him like almost falling off of his chair.
Different energy, man.
Yeah. And you can just tell Michael Cole's having fun.
For the first time in his career.
Yeah, arguably for the first time in his career. But yeah, I think the funniest thing Pat McAfee has ever said into a microphone is when they did the Mountain Dew Pitch Black match. And it's black light all over the arena. And Pat goes, "Good thing I washed these pants." Is the funniest fucking
Just the
thing.
little shit like that, man.
Or
sets it apart.
whenever Jordan Grace was coming out for the Royal Rumble, and he just goes, "Cops are here." It's just so fucking funny. It's so good.
But like, there's also moments that are like not meant to be funny, but then when you look back at them, you're like, "Oh my god, that was hilarious!"
Like Titus World Slide, or like you think
Not
something
even-
that's meant to be
not
serious.
Even that. I'm
Okay.
talking about Big Show, Kane, and Raven in golf carts at WrestleMania.
Oh yeah.
When you find out after the fact that they almost destroyed the whole pay-per-view
Yeah.
in like match 3.
My favorite part of that match, which is unintentionally funny, is whenever Raven gets thrown through the plate glass window or whatever, and then Big Show and Kane are just fighting in a room, and then Raven just walks through the door. It's just so fucking funny. So fucking funny. Yeah, they're like moments that, man, are not meant to be funny, but are funny.
Like at the TNA Christmas special, man. Everyone's dressed up for Christmas and ready to celebrate, and Matt Morgan comes walking down like he's ready to go to the beach.
Yeah. That is really good. That is really
like
good.
shit that's not meant to be funny, that no one else should take funny, but like when you got a sick and twisted mind, you've noticed this little crap and you're like, "Oh my god, that's hilarious." Like we do.
Yeah.
Like I guarantee no one watching that Christmas special was like, "Oh, he's going to the beach." But
Or the
no.
fact he's wearing a button-up shirt is just
Yeah.
like, why is this so funny? Like, I'm trying to think of more moments like that, man. Because there's plenty, I'm sure.
Great Muda trying to eat a lamp.
Great Muda trying to eat a lamp. He just walked in there and just be crazy Muda. So he just like tried to fucking eat a lamp.
Lap.
What do you think are some moments that like were meant to be funny, but just like
Didn't come off as funny.
I think Old Day is the one that comes to mind.
That and anything Vladimir Kozlov touched.
I don't know though, man. Vladimir Kozlov was pretty good. Double E.
Well, nonetheless, dude, like everything, they tried to make him be funny and he just could not pull it off. They should have let his natural comedic aspect come out.
When you
that,
force it.
It was that forced funny.
And that's what makes R-Truth so great, I think, is that it's just so natural with him. Like, and you just look at people like another one who I think is just naturally funny and really not breaking new ground by saying this, but Santino. Like we could spend the whole, the rest of this podcast talking about Santino. And then we could be like, well, we could have spent the rest of this podcast talking about R-Truth, or we could have spent this time talking about fucking Chris Jericho.
You talk about Santino, all right? The JTG Cobra cell. By far the greatest cell in professional wrestling history.
Or whenever Great Khali got up and was playing the
flute.
And Santino didn't know what to do with the Cobra.
Yes.
Yeah, that was really funny. That was really good. I think another one that really missed the mark was the was it Alexa Bliss did Bailey This Is Your Life? Was it for Bailey? Who was it for?
I don't remember.
That was a bad segment though.
They try to capitalize off the Rock McFoley shit, and it.
Yeah.
When you got people out there that don't know what they're doing and just trying to pay a tribute, it's bad.
Yeah, exactly.
Very bad.
I think other unintentional, to go back a bit, moments that were unintentionally funny, even though they weren't meant to be, was the whole Claire Lynch thing in TNA.
Yeah.
This is AJ's baby. This is
AJ's baby. Oh, Gene Snitsky, man. You want to talk about comedy?
Punt kicking a baby?
It wasn't my fault.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying, dude? It's all tied in. Like
it all,
one
yeah.
memory can trigger so many more.
Because, like fundamentally, it's not funny
No.
that Kane attached a car battery to Shane
McMahon's
McMahon
nuts.
and shocked him. But when you look at it, it's pretty fucking funny.
I think what made it the funniest is he added the water to make her shock more. Wrestling logic.
What about Kane? Team Hell No.
I beat my family. I had a girlfriend. She died.
Yeah.
That whole fucking doctor, who was it?
Dr. Shelby.
Dr. Shelby segment. Like, that was golden, man.
Like them walking around going, I am the tag team champions. I am the tag team champions.
Two guys played off their fucking part very well with that one, man.
They really did. And like their chemistry with that whole thing was just unbelievable. And it was just like, it was TV gold.
Another chemistry set that should not have been as funny as they were together. William Regal and Yoshihiro Tajiri.
Oh, I love that you called him Yoshihiro Tajiri.
I have to, man.
Yeah, when William Regal wants to do comedy, I think he's very funny. And
his best comedy shit's that Hey EW segment he did.
I want to go on record right now and say that RJ City is the funniest person in professional wrestling right now.
You think so?
Just how effortlessly he is with Hey EW. Like it's so fucking funny. Like when Abaddon was on there and he's like scared of Abaddon and like they take the glasses and put them on and they're like, and then I think like it's just the way he acted. And then there was the best one is when he had Tony Khan on there and he goes, no, who did he have? He had,
I think the one with Hook is my personal favorite.
oh, when it's like he tries to get one of Hook's
say
chips.
anything. Just
Yeah.
body language
Hey.
made it hilarious.
Hey.
I'm not doing it.
And then he just gets the Arn Anderson one was really good too, because he said something to the effect of like, I've been known to make jerky in my day or something. Arn Anderson goes, I bet you have, or something. Like, I don't remember what Arn said, but you would think that I would remember these moments because I think they're so funny, but I don't. Yeah. Hey, EW is like just so fucking funny. And like the shit that he gets away with saying on there is just like fucking hilarious. Like he makes it so effortless. So effortless.
Speaking of effortless, before we wrap things up here, what are some gimmicks you recall that were not supposed to be funny, but they were hilariously bad?
There's a lot. Like ones that like they meant, like these are meant to be taken so seriously right now. But
And then they come out and shit the bed.
I mean, the biggest one, and arguably even more funny than Titus World Slide, the funniest moment in the history of professional wrestling, like number 1 and number 2, one's Titus World Slide, this one's number 2, but they kind of jockey for position all the time, is none other than the Shock Master.
See, Shockmaster is funny. I only find it funny for Davey Boy Smith's comments, though.
Fell on his fucking arse.
But, like, dude, like, think about, like, the ECW zombie. They hyped this shit up for weeks.
They knew what they were doing with that, though.
But nonetheless,
like,
dude, they hyped it up for weeks. We're getting a real zombie. And it shit the bed. You want to talk about, like, David Flair.
Oh, okay, that's a good one.
David Flair. Hype it up, shit's the fucking bed. Like, have you watched the Ric Flair 30 for 30 documentary?
Oh, loved it.
Why isn't David Flair mentioned in that? Is he that bad they have to erase him from wrestling history?
Yeah. Talk about someone that's like unintentionally funny is like Ric Flair, like just with the shit that he says. Like him and Jay Lethal going back and forth, like
Jay Lethal's fucking comedy gold too.
Yeah.
Everything he touches is golden, man. Fucking the Briscoe brothers.
Yeah. Terry Funk ain't wearing no damn mouthpiece. I got one that I want to bring up. There's two things that I want to talk about before we wrap up this podski, because I think that when you're talking about comedy and wrestling, if you don't talk about Botchamania,
oh man,
you're off your fucking rocker. Like Botchamania is something that just was something. It was just a video that he started making, and now it is ingrained in the zeitgeist of professional wrestling. Because how many times, even between us on commentary, have we made Botchamania references?
I am the table.
I don't think we've had an I am the table moment yet, but I think that I told you, I was like, here's what's going to happen. We're both going to be rushing. If it happens to us one day, we're both going to be rushing to make the I am the table reference. I said dibs and you went fuck. But like one time on commentary, I was like saying that he talks too much. Homeboy, you never shut up. But like send for the man or never mind that shit. Here comes Mongo. Like just all of that stuff.
Little sound bites that became iconic.
Yeah. And the inside jokes that have been built from Botchamania. And I mean, you look at it, I think he's like 300 something now, maybe almost 4. And
with lots of different YouTube channels because they keep getting shut down.
Yeah. And like so many different like ways that there was a stretch there where he was having to stop naming the videos Botchamania, and he would just call them the most off the wall shit. And like one of them was like, how is this still working? 98 or whatever it was. Cause he would still number them so that you would remember which ones they were. But I dare say like the Iron Sheik, fuck that bullshit. Like
Jesus.
Yeah. Like the Iron Sheik, fuck this bullshit is like obviously known. Like we knew about it, but I think that Botchamania like brought it to the next fucking level.
Oh yeah, man.
Because it became look fucking Botchamania started the Cornette face.
And Botchamania started barbershop window teas. You remember those back in the day?
Yeah, a lot of those inside jokes that were established on Botchamania were on barbershop window.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that like Cornette face was one of them, and now Cornette sells it himself, which as he should, it's his likeness. But yeah, you just look at like so many things, like I've said, that have entered the zeitgeist of professional wrestling from Botchamania. And like, I don't know what Matthew's intention was when he started doing Botchamania. It was probably just like, oh, I'm going to make these fun little videos. So it's like to see what he's grown him into. Like, I think that he was the first one, and I'm not a Simpsons fan by any stretch of the imagination, but I think he was the first one that started making the Simpsons wrestling comparisons.
Yes.
Like, he was probably the first one that started doing that. And, you know, like,
you can't scroll through a social media website today without seeing one.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And like, again, it's just like you look at so many things that you see and it's just like, that came from Botchamania. Of where it's like, you know, like Clayton was even talking about, he's on Botchamania. And like, nothing that he did, but where he got announced as the shotgun shitty sheriff.
It's like a little check mark in your book now in the world of professional wrestling to be proud of.
Yeah. And you've seen Botchamania like evolve over time to where there've been these bits that he doesn't do anymore, and he'll do these new bits, and then those will be gone. But like the new one that he does a lot of now is the animated commentary. Like, look at like
with Taz and Excalibur.
Yeah, it's Taz. Like the original.
You cannot look at the Oompa Loompa poking out of the wall without thinking that it's Taz.
Yeah, and he's changed it a little bit now to where instead of the Oompa Loompa poking out, it's that "but I digress" of like, look at even the signs that you see in the crowd of how many "but I digress" signs that you see like in the crowd now. That drawing, that crude drawing of Taz
is in every show.
Yeah, and it's crazy. Like, I don't know if he probably couldn't even predicted that it was going to be a cultural phenomenon, but it's just like, my God, man, it's just so fucking crazy.
It's something so simple that like when you look back, you're like, why did I never think of that?
Yeah. Yeah. So with that being said, what is your favorite, whether it be a moment or a running gag from Botchamania?
The Mongos from the early Botchamania.
Never mind that shit. Here comes Mongo. Yeah. Mine is probably it's gotta be fuck. The Iron Sheik going fuck, because like it's just so iconic at this point. And like you can't go anywhere without it. Like, I don't know, man. There's so many.
They say you can't hear pictures.
Yeah.
That's what.
And Botchamania
that
is the definition of you can hear pictures. Like, you could show me a Botchamania inside joke and
just a picture of it, and you're like, I know exactly where this falls on the video.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There was one moment in Botchamania that has been the fucking funniest thing I've ever seen, because we've already talked about Violent J once, but the old JCW tapes, the spinning horn wheel, and it looked like shit. And they've dubbed that over a couple of times. And then there was a moment in a JCW video where a power bomb kind of got botched and the guy landed on his head and they kept replaying it. Well, they did that with Kenny Omega, and it was like, boink. They're just laughing.
Look at him land on his fucking head.
Yeah. There's another spinning horn wheel reference in the most recent Botchamania as well.
That's my goal from this point on.
The spinning horn wheel?
No. I want our commentary to be featured somewhere in Botchamania at some point. That's when we fucking make it, sir.
Oh, my God. I don't know, man. We've had a few moments where we've just completely fucking lost ourselves. But so I think the last thing that I want to talk about when it comes to like funny moments and comedy in wrestling, and how apropos, because TNA just released a compilation of it, and it's the first time they've like released video of it. And I think it's the most underrated. I think more people need to talk about it. Kevin Nash with the X Division and Paparazzi Productions.
Paparazzi Productions was our shit. I think we covered a lot of this back a couple episodes ago.
We might have talked about it. I don't care, but I'm going to talk about it again because
it's what GTB should have been.
Yes. It was just Kevin Nash doing the most fucking out-of-pocket shit with the X Division people at the time. And it all started with like he did the psych evaluations or whatever, and he was like showing them the ink splotches, and he was showing them to Loki, and he just kept going warrior. And then look, Kevin Nash goes, "Look, I've shown you so many of these, and you're honestly going to sit here and tell me this looks like Jim Hellwig." It's just the way. And then he kept saying that Sanjay Dutt was on steroids, and like he kept no, who was it? It might have been Sanjay, but he just kept saying like, oh, he's juicing or whatever, and then he would be like, goes, oh, there's the roid rage, like just doing shit like that. And they did the piss test, and he comes in and he's got the beaker of piss, and there's a straw coming out of it, and it's just little shit like that was so fucking funny. Like they did musical chairs, they did push-up competitions.
Did they play a game of pig too?
They may have. They did so much stuff, but like I noticed that TNA recently just released a 2-hour long video of all the paparazzi production moments, so I definitely want to go back and rewatch that.
Speaking of TNA and funny, do you remember the failed one episode only of the TNA NASCAR crossover program?
No.
They took guys like Sanjay Dutt and Jay Lethal and put them under hoods, and like they represented, like one would represent stock cars, Indy cars, NASCAR. The other one would represent like four-wheelers, dirt bikes, action sports.
You're making this up.
Swear to God, brother.
That's not real.
Swear to God, brother. You don't remember this shit?
No.
Oh, man.
Do you remember the TNA Spin Cycle?
Yes.
Their web series where it was just a panel of them talking. Those would be really funny because they would just get on there and again say the most out-of-pocket shit. Like, dude, I don't even remember specifics, but I just remember it being like, these motherfuckers are just unhinged right now. But
I'm going to Google this and show you after this Podski's done.
Yeah?
Yes, sir.
Please do. I don't remember that at all. But yeah, man, I think that what everyone needs to do right now that they're done listening to this podcast as we're starting to wrap up here, go find these paparazzi production videos because, Jesus, they are so fucking funny. And Kevin Nash, like, oh, do you remember when they were training Kevin Nash for an X Division match? And one of his training partners was Somalian Joe.
No.
That was another one. That's what started that's what started, if I remember correctly, his relationship with Alex Shelley was they were training him for an X Division title match or something. And they were like, Nash, like the X Division is, you're not able to find it, are you?
No, I didn't find it.
Okay. Because I was going to say, you're scrolling through your phone like really deep right now trying to find it.
Nope, because I just watched it on YouTube the other day, so.
Oh, no. So this is a real thing.
Yes, it is, sir.
I don't remember this. I'll look at it when we're done here.
All right.
But they were telling Nash, they were like, yeah, man, like, the X Division, there's a lot of high flying action. And he goes, well, I got one thing I've been practicing into my pool. And then like they had him like, quote unquote, up on the top rope. And then he like, and they like had a reaction like he was doing this craziest fucking flip in the world. It was really funny.
He's the Cannonball Master of 1997.
Oh, and he jumped over. Yeah, I forgot about that. And he said he hit his ass on the bottom of the pool.
Yep.
Oh my God, that's great. Well, hey guys, this was awesome. Hopefully we were able to bring some cheer to you today, talking about some funny moments in wrestling. What are some of your favorite funny moments in wrestling? Let us know on the Facebook page. If you're on the Patreon, let us know in the comments of this post. And yeah, we're going to go ahead and roll into Paid Ski. We're going to talk about, there was a couple of things that I said I wanted to talk about on Paid Ski, and I already don't remember what they were. But I do remember. Oh, I want to talk about one of the funniest things I've seen backstage, and I want to talk about some things that got changed around with some MadBash Wrestling stuff. But I think that we're also going to get into more of like some of the funniest things that we've seen, like on our personal experiences in wrestling on Paid Show. That's going to be a really fun one. Spoiler alert: a lot of them. Jason V was probably with me whenever they happened. So yeah. We're going to go ahead and get off here, guys. Again, if you're listening to this on Thursday, the day that it comes out, we'll see you. Madrox will be there. I will not be able to be there in the live chat, but we are premiering round 1 of Ascend the Throne. That is going to be a really good time. You're going to want to see that. And then again, coming to the Patreon soon is the rest of Ascend the Throne. So hell yeah, guys. This has been a really fun time in Mad Bash. We're firing on all cylinders. We're loving it, loving every minute of it. So we're going to go ahead and get off here. We're going to roll into Paid Ski for those of you on the Patreon. For Michael Madrox, I have been Dickie Wabash. You can find me on Instagram at DW_mischievous rabbit.
You almost forgot that part.
Almost forgot my own part. My own plug scheme.
You know what I didn't forget, though?
What'd you not forget?
Be sure to check out All Wheels Wrestling on YouTube.
Is that what it was called?
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. But anyway, guys, we're going to go ahead and get off here. For those of you on the Patreon, we will see you on Paid Ski.